Hey guys, this is part 2 of the Astrology of August series. I did a video describing all of the transits of August. Definitely check it out before you dive into this one. And here I'm gonna look at the main ones and take them through all 12 signs. Let's do it. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive astrology. I am doing readings. If you'd like to work with me, check out the links down below. There's currently a Leo season special that you might want to check out. And if you're new to my channel, please interact and engage with it by leaving me a comment, tapping that like button, and subscribing if you haven't yet. I wanted to talk to you about the new product I'm planning to put out soon. It's going to appear on my website in August, early August. So there's such thing in astrology as planetary magic. And planetary magic is the art of working with the energy of the moment and harnessing it and putting it into an object. As you know, your natal chart, the placement, the time, the location of your birth, affects your personality. So similarly, you can choose, carefully craft and elect a moment where you can bottle up the property. So I am going to work with the sun. The sun is currently in Leo, very strong, bold, proud, confident, and I'm gonna harness it into planetary magic candles. So they will show up on my website, and there will be a limited edition because this is my first try doing it. So this is my announcement. This video is sponsored by Keen.com, the service that connects you with talented tarot readers and psychics that can answer your questions and provide some much needed guidance. All you need to do is create an account with them and you'll be able to choose from hundreds of readers online at your fingertips right now. I myself have worked with Keen and have gotten a tarot reading with them and have nothing but good things to say about it. It was inspirational, helpful, and highly supportive. Check them out, especially right now. As a new customer, you get your first 10 minutes for $1.99, and that is up to $70 in savings. Go to trykeen.com/Anastasia or click the link down below to save big on your first reading. So now that we've gotten all the things out of the way, once again, the video that I did about the astrology of August has everything. I am not going to go through all the transits, but I will cover some of the most important ones. August is a mixed bag. I feel like the most important thing is in August is that having the Sun and Mercury, and then later in the month Venus all in Leo, activates the Saturn-Uranus square. So if you have dealt with any tensions in 2021, you have felt like you really want to progress and move forward, but you can't quite do it for whatever reason, you felt blocked, there might be a repetition of that. And every time we go through the similar motions, have similar transits, we get a chance to do things differently. The month might feel a little bit slower moving. There might be some challenging things you have to address. You might kind of do a lot of push and pull energy, or stop and start. Because Saturn is just like the major player of the month. On August 7th, we have Saturn, Mars in a square with Saturn. On the 11th, we have a new full moon conjunct Saturn. On August 18th, 14th, and 28th, we have, not 18th, 14th and 28th, we have the Sun and then Venus opposing Saturn. So it's very much like, what is your legacy? What do you want to leave behind? And what do you want to be known for? And how can you be patient, right? Patient. Saturn rewards people who dedicate themselves to a cause. So whatever that cause is to you will be a question this month. So let's break it down. Let's talk about some of the most important things that you can expect. For Aries rising, you start off the month with the Sun in the 5th house. Venus enters your 5th house on August 11th. This is lovely for any matters related to self-expression, creativity, dating, having sex, spending time with children, connecting with your inner child, and having joy. Sun sort of lights up this sector of your chart. Venus rejoices in this house. So from August 11th until September 5th, you might be more magnetic to people. It might be easier to draw good things and more fun into your life, and might be a lovely time to think of how you can change your life, right? Like, how can you add more joy? Mars is in Taurus until August 20th. This is your second house of money and values. And you're either spending more money or you're kind of focusing on making money. Maybe there's more competitive money making, but it's not likely that you're just like, you know, it's not Mars in Aries for Pisces rising, for example, when Mars was in Aries. It's slow and determined and steady, and maybe there are new ideas on how to make money, but they're not necessarily just like immediate and you're like rushing into things. You're taking it slow and easy. The month begins with a very unusual, rare transit. We have Mars, Uranus, and North Node all coming together in your second house. So this sector of finances and values definitely gets activated. It's like there's a lightning strike that hits your second house, and you can expect a breakthrough. You can expect an inception of a new idea, a new exciting opportunity to make money, a new personal venture. You might expect a change in your self-worth and self-understanding. Maybe you feel like you need to break away from something, and you know, like it could definitely affect your finances, but it could also have to do with how you define yourself and how much you value yourself. For some of you, maybe there is an increase in self-love and self-understanding and cherishing yourself. Be careful. Mars can be very self-righteous and very self-oriented, so be careful kind of steamrolling everyone and believing that your views are the only correct views. Keep in mind that other people still deserve to have their opinions, and you don't want to be too pushy. Venus will be sextiling this transit from the 4th house, so if you are dealing with any challenges related to finances or misunderstandings about what you value in other people, it is likely that your home and family, or the matters related to home and family, will provide a welcome break and respite. That's a word, right? Kind of a welcome, peaceful harbor for you to retreat into, or a family member can be helpful when it comes to these matters. The Saturn action, the T-square that forms between the planets in Leo in your 5th house, Saturn in your 11th house, and Mars and Taurus in your 2nd house, is present all month, possibly creating tension between your goals and hopes for the future and resources you have, and how quickly you can move, because maybe these breakthroughs and ideas that you get inspire a desire to start something new, but then, you know, like Saturn is like, don't rush, take it easy. So your plans for the future will need to be addressed very much, I think. Like, how can you incorporate this desire for freedom, these new values, new finances, new money-making ideas into your future plans? Especially tough are August 7th, when Mars squares Saturn. There might be your plans for the future might get frustrated, delayed, challenged. Don't push harder. It never helps with Saturn. Instead, take a step back. Always defense versus attack. Rethink your strategy, maybe reorganize your resources, spread them more thoughtfully and evenly. August 11th, we have a full moon in your 11th house, conjunct Saturn and square Uranus in the 2nd house. So there might be some kind of sudden urgent spending or some disruption to your finances that in turn encourages you to let go of project, possibly, or you postpone a project. Basically your commitment will get tested. It's always like that. Saturn is always like, well, how committed are you? Are you ready? Are you willing to work hard, dedicate yourself? So there might be a bit of a sense with this full moon that you need to like rethink your finances, rethink your strategy, and maybe let something go. Sometimes full moons in the 11th house can also be about letting a relationship go, letting a person like a friend or a mentor, someone in your network, maybe releasing that relationship, or maybe rethinking who's helpful to your cause and who isn't. And August 14th and 28th are two more challenging dates because the Sun and Venus in your 5th house will be opposing Saturn in your 11th. So your desire for fun might be at odds with what your friends want to do, or somehow your joy gets blocked by all the duties and responsibilities you have to take care of. A bit of like frustrating dynamics. So August 7th, 11th, 14th, and 28th. Those are complicated dates. August 18th, I really like. It's possibly the luckiest day all month. We have Venus in your 5th house of joy, romance, creativity, trining Jupiter in your 1st house of identity. So Jupiter in Aries will encourage you to take care of yourself, to take action, to be proactive. It's an Aries, right? It's very much just do it energy. So you're taking action to bring more fun into your life. There might be creative opportunities. Maybe you are having a child or connecting with your inner child. Maybe you are starting a creative project. Those are definitely some possibilities here. Mars, this is a big deal this month. Mars will enter Gemini, your 3rd house, for 7 months. And Mars normally stays in the sign for like, a month and a half, tops. So it's staying here for such a long time because it's about to go retrograde. So we get from August 20th until October 30th. It's direct, October 30th, January 12th, it's retrograde, and then, few more direct months. So it's a big deal. Mars in the 3rd house is going to speed up your mind. It's a lovely time. I remember when Mars was in my 3rd house, I really liked it, even though it can get overwhelming with all these thoughts jumping in your head. But hey, I'm a Virgo Sun, Gemini Moon, I'm like forever dealing with thoughts popping up. But you will have a more active mind. You will feel likely driven to communicate, have more ideas, have more encounters. Maybe some of them are like sudden, disruptive, but also enlightening. And then when Mars goes retrograde, you will likely have to rethink your schedule. And maybe some of the ideas you come up with and some of the ideas you'll start pushing forward. It's very much, I wonder for you Aries risings, and please let me know in the comments below, if this is that Taurus action is the inception of a new idea. Whether it has to do with building your self-worth or a new financial venture, I don't know, you have to tell me. But then Mars going into the 3rd house makes you want to take action. It makes you want to study, get the technology you need, get your schedule organized, and then Mars goes retrograde and you're like, you've missed a few spots. So Mars going retrograde on August 20th will encourage you to change and rethink some things. And finally, Virgo season starts on August 22nd. This is your 6th house, and there's a new moon in Virgo on August 27th. It's going to square Mars and Gemini in the 3rd house, so there might be some disruption, some frustration, some conflicts, maybe with your siblings or neighbors, or just them sort of distracting you from the energy of the new moon. But new moon in the 6th house brings new beginnings to health. And it's funny because my Aries rising friend is investing into a major health project, like taking a bunch of supplements, and she's like excited about it. So new beginnings, the square to Mars, new beginnings to health, right? Like working out, taking care of your body, getting regular massages. Professional new beginnings are possible, but then square to Mars to me reads as like maybe there's scheduling issues that are frustrating you, or maybe there's a conflict with a sibling or a neighbor that's distracting you from these matters. So try your best to balance and take good care of yourself. For Taurus rising, we start with the Sun in Leo, 4th house, until August 22nd. And your attention is on home and family. Venus goes into the same house on August 11th, and maybe you feel a pull to have more dates indoors, to beautify your home, to bring more parties into your home, have more like socializing, networking, because Venus brings things together and cares about aesthetics. So maybe a lovely time to buy some new throws and put some flowers in your house. Mars is in Taurus, your first house, until August 20th, encouraging you to take action and assert yourself. And then we have this, the month kind of begins with a very significant event with Mars conjoining Uranus and North Node in your first house. And this is big, right? Like, first house is you, your body, your energy, your self-expression. Anytime you say, I am, I want. Want might be more second house, but I am. Who are you? And with Mars, Mars is active. Mars is self-driven. There's a lot of kind of like self-focused energy. Be careful that you're just sort of like very one note. You want to care for other people, think about other people, and not just be too concerned with yourself. But then if Mars is driven, wants to take action, Uranus is freedom, rebellion, revolution, lightning strike, changes that are sudden, sometimes chaotic, but ultimately enlightening. And North Node makes everything bigger, more significant, more things, larger. So here you're going through an important transformation, a breakthrough, an inception of a new project, new idea, new version of yourself, very much so. You can expect a sudden change, sudden opportunity, and perhaps it has to do with technology or science or space and design or anything like that. That would be lovely. You have Venus sextiling this from the third house, so if there are any conflicts, if you do come across as too like self-driven or self-righteous, it's likely that you have communication skills to talk about things and sort of, you know, figure them out. Just like, I want to make my hair all pretty for you guys. I think it's doing a great job already. Anyways, hair break. So yeah, pay attention, listen to whatever shows up, any new ideas there might be, your mind might be racing. So it could be a good idea to like also chill a bit and have some kind of rest built into your schedule. Overall, this month has a heavy dose of Saturn because Sun being in Leo, Venus, Mercury all in Leo, activates the square between Saturn and Uranus and creates a T-square. So expect delays to your personal plans, possibly, especially on August 7th when Mars in your first house squares Saturn in the 10th house. You know, Mars in the first wants to be like, I want to do this, I am ready to do this. And Saturn in the 10th is like, but you have all these duties. You have all these responsibilities, whether it's at your job or to your family or just to society. So frustrations, blocks, delays, you are encouraged to proceed very slowly and carefully. Saturn wants people to do things slowly and carefully and thoughtfully, and Saturn rewards people who do that. So try to be steady in your approach. But yeah, conflicts, delays to your personal projects, issues with people in power, struggle between having enough rest, taking care of the home and family duties, and your professional pursuits are likely this month, especially around August 7th, 11th, 14th, and 28th, because that's when Saturn gets triggered the most. So we spoke about August 7th. On August 11th, we get a full moon in your 10th house of career that conjoins Saturn and squares Uranus in the first. So this is interesting. Uranus in the first wants independence. And full moon in the 10th wants you to make changes to the career. So the most maybe interesting, kind of more challenging way this can play out is if Uranus in the first house makes you want to make a reckless action. Be careful once again here, don't push don't just jump headfirst into things. But maybe, you decide that you no longer want to have a job and you quit. So this could be very much that. Or maybe you get an exciting opportunity that allows you to quit and allows you to go and pursue something else. So a little bit of encouragement to proceed slowly, but also do things that lead you to where you want to go. And then August 14th, 28th, Sun, Venus in the 4th house of home and family will oppose Saturn in the house of career. So certain tension between your status, reputation, plans for the future, and the needs of your home, family, and people you love are likely. On August 18th is my favorite day, my favorite transit of the month. We have Venus in the 4th house trining Jupiter in your 12th house. So all this tension, all these plans, a lot of work that you're focusing on. August 18th is a bit of a party day, fun day, because Venus in your 4th house, Jupiter in the 12th house. Either you find comfort and security in some kind of spiritual practice, or you have a really lovely relationship with your family. Maybe even go on vacation with them, escape the mundane for a little bit. What day of the week is August 18th? It's Thursday. So yeah, so that weekend, maybe you plan something exciting. Having more fun at home is also likely. Maybe you're just having a party in your home. I can see that as a possibility too. Mars enters Gemini, your 2nd house, on August 20th, and Mars will stay in Gemini for the next 7 months. This is a lot, right? So anyone who's pregnant right now and is planning to give birth from August 20th until like March, your baby will have Mars in Gemini. And that happens because Mars is going to go retrograde. So Mars in the 2nd house is going to prompt you to take action and make money. It's going to make you make money competitively, using your intellect, using your words, kind of like be more of a salesperson, because Mars in Gemini is very clever, very witty and flexible, and kind of likes to spin words around into beautiful shapes. So you will be more interested in making money. When Mars goes retrograde on October 30th, you will be in for 12 weeks of rethinking things, right? Like maybe you have this great idea, you start making money, you start a business, but then you need to adjust something. So there might be a little bit of having to go back to square one, or not even square one, but retreat. And you can benefit, like, do things now. Don't wait for Mars retrograde. Go to the bank, start a savings account, try to kind of figure out your strategy when it comes to money. Virgo season begins on August 22nd. There's a new moon in Virgo on August 27th. It's new moon in the 5th house, squaring Mars in the 2nd house. So there's new beginnings in your relationships and romantic relationships, kind of new beginnings of fun, creativity, matters related with children, maybe inception, having a child, getting pregnant. But it is squaring Mars in the 2nd house. So maybe it has to do with that need to, like something new happens, like you get pregnant, but then now there's frustration because you feel like you don't have enough resources. So you need to be careful, you need to be thoughtful and kind of plan things ahead of time. For Gemini rising, the Sun spends most of the month until August 22nd in your 3rd house. And then Venus also enters your 3rd house on August 11th and stays there until September 5th. It's 4th or 5th? I feel like I might be confused, but definitely one of those two. Actually, I can check. So having the Sun and Venus in your 3rd house is very significant because it's Leo. Leo wants to shine. September 5th. So I was right. So there's a desire to shine, and 3rd house deals with your writing, with your words, with your skills. So you are encouraged to express yourself, to find ways to speak about things that you know things that you're passionate about, explore new business ideas, anything that puts you in the spotlight and connects you with your inner voice is lovely. And then Venus being there from August 11th is also quite great for solving and smoothing relationships with siblings, neighbors, making you a more eloquent communicator, and possibly you will have more fun in the neighborhood or interacting with people in your environment. Mars is in Taurus, your 12th house, until August 20th, and you may be dealing with more like hidden self-doubt at the same time, as there is this desire to speak up and roar and express yourself. So watch out for negative talk and being too self-critical and kind of standing in your own way, because 12th house is the house of hidden enemies, and a lot of times you are your hidden enemy, so be careful. On August 1st, we have a very big transit. Mars will conjoin Uranus and North Node in your 12th house. And, you know, 12th house is the hidden place. 12th house is the place of the past. It's the place where we sometimes go through losses. So there might be a sudden loss, and the loss is not always physical. It could be physical. It could be something literal, like, you know, something happening to an elderly, sick family member. Hopefully it doesn't, but it could also be very much spiritual. It could be a loss of your old sense of self, a loss of a tendency to be negative with yourself. Breakthrough in therapy is possible. Receiving a message through your dream or through therapy, through subconscious. Pay attention to whatever happens, but also freedom from something that chains you down, that holds you back, because Mars in the 12th can be like a really great fighter in the subterranean realm, fighter in the realm of like connecting with people who are misunderstood and isolated and helping them somehow. So I wonder if you are getting a new idea, or if this breakthrough connects you with people who need your help, and maybe through doing that you feel better about yourself. Because at the same time, Venus sextiles this conjunction from the second house, promising better self-worth and maybe support of other people. Maybe they can even bring you gifts and, you know, help you somehow. But yeah, like it could be an interesting transit, because 12th house is always hard to describe, hard to predict. But I feel like, you know, losses can very much be like you decide to let something or someone go that no longer makes you feel good. Because what's about to happen later in the month, on August 20th, is Mars will go into your first house. So after you've done a lot of this behind the scenes inner work, you will be more ready to step up and be visible, and you will have more energy, and you will be more self-oriented. That's like a major thing later in the month on August 20th, because Mars will stay in Gemini for 7 months. And usually Mars spends a month and a half in a sign, but here it's like it's gonna go retrograde, so it's a really long period. And whatever you've been pondering, working on, you likely will get some answers. You'll get a boost of energy and drive to take care of things. But then Mars goes retrograde on August 30th, October 30th. And you will have to rethink some of your pursuits, some of your strategies, some of your image, and even your health and how you present yourself and how you take care of your physical body. So another thing to mention about this month is that there is quite a lot of tension between all the fixed signs except for Scorpio. There isn't anything going on in Scorpio other than the South Node, and of course the Moon will be in Scorpio at some point in the month. But we have a tense T-square between planets in Leo, in Aquarius, and Taurus. And that activates your 9th house, so maybe having to deal with some bureaucracy and legal matters this month and just being frustrated. Maybe your travel gets delayed, or you have to like look at education matters A Gemini rising friend is dealing with her son going into pre-K and trying to figure out where he should go. You know, there's a lot of a lot of bureaucracy surrounding that, and like limited spots and all of that. So certain legal issues that will demand your attention, taking you away from possibly needing to rest and wanting to express yourself, because Saturn is strong this month. Saturn is just like there. And there's 4 dates when these will be felt most strongly. There is Mars on the 12th, square to Saturn in the 9th on August 7th. So that like breakthrough, that excitement, that desire to break away from self-limiting thoughts will get checked against Saturn in the 9th, being like, well, what do you believe in? Do you have the right paperwork? Have you signed the form? Have you gotten it verified? So there might be, you know, like I said, some kind of bureaucracy, things that you have to proceed. Even, you know, both of these houses deal with travel, and maybe you want to go somewhere, but Saturn in Aquarius is telling you that you're not ready yet. Don't push harder. You are encouraged to try and work slowly and patiently and dedicate yourself to things. There's a full moon in your 9th house, which might be around the time when, on August 11th, when there will be some sort of resolution of a legal matter or a publishing matter or education travel. Look back 6 months ago, what was happening in the sector of education, travel, legal matters, and publishing. But this full moon will conjoin Saturn and square Uranus in the 12th. So more themes of like, you're working on this liberation, but there is real life education matters that demand your attention. And then on August 14th and 28th, we have Sun and Venus in your 3rd house opposed Saturn in the 9th. Possibly making you be very careful with what you say and how you say it, because maybe you're communicating with someone in power, someone who's an authority figure, and you can't quite be as assertive as you are, and there might be a sense of isolation, kind of going at it all on your own. Don't get discouraged. It's a temporary transit. Things will get better. August 18th is my favorite day because we have a really lovely transit. Venus in Leo will trine Jupiter in Aries, and this connects your 3rd house to the 11th house. So 3rd house is, you know, like I've been talking about, it's like writing, speech, skills, hobbies, technology, blogging, sharing your knowledge. 11th house puts you in touch with the larger community. And Jupiter in the 11th is very lucky for getting the following, having people to support your work, expressing yourself on social media. So take what you're passionate about and bring it to people. Show it to people. We did talk about Mars entering your 1st house on August 20th, very significant. And then Virgo season starts on August 22nd. There's a new moon in Virgo on August 27th. It's a new moon in your 4th house of home and family, possibly bringing new beginnings to your living situation and your home, but it squares Mars in the 1st. So these new beginnings might somehow be at odds with your personal gains. Maybe you feel like you would rather do ABC, but you have to take care of your living situation. Yeah, like let's say there is this project that you need to, that you're very excited about, like a writing creative project, but you're also concerned about your child growing up and like needing to move to a bigger place to allow for the expansion of your family. For Cancer rising, the Sun spends most of the month in the 2nd house. Mercury's there until the 4th, and Venus enters on the 11th and stays until September 5th. So there's a lot of attention on your finances, maybe questioning how can you make more money, maybe figuring out new opportunities, maybe expanding your focus. Venus joins, like I said, on August 11th, which is really great because Venus tends to bring gifts. So there might be gifts coming your way from other people and maybe even financial opportunities, but yeah, like also likely chances to spend on beautiful things like art, beauty, gifts for people you love, and invest into things that will increase in value. Venus is really great for that. Mars spends most of the month until August 20th in Taurus, your 11th house, and maybe you are spending more time connecting with old friends, people you share something in common with. You may be working with groups of people and starting projects, or even joining new groups of people. My Cancer rising friend, so good to have friends of almost all rising signs. I mean, I don't, but I know some people. I have clients of all rising signs for sure. But she has joined a fitness group. So she has recently started working out, and it happened with Mars being in Taurus. So she goes out, there's a new group of people, and they do like high intensity interval training. Could be a great time to volunteer too, and maybe lead a project, because it might be harder for you to follow. You might enjoy being a leader more so than following. August 1st is a very significant transit. We have Mars conjoining Uranus and conjoining North Node in your 11th house. So Mars wants to take action, Uranus wants to revolutionize, break away, find independence, create new things. It's a rebel at times, right? Like wants freedom. And North Node makes things bigger. So you can expect breakthroughs when it comes to your friendships, when it comes to your hopes and dreams. Maybe you're starting, maybe you're getting an idea for something you've always wanted to pursue. Maybe you're getting an idea to work with other people or use social media to your advantage. Watch out for feeling like you're the only right one. This is very much like the danger of Mars and Uranus being like, I am the light, I have this idea, and this is the only right idea. So you don't want to be too fanatical and obsessed with the idea that you're trying to pursue. Try to take it easy. There's a lovely sextile to Venus from the first house, so you have still, especially until August 11th, you have a lot of charm, you have a lot of ability to smooth things over, compromise, and be this person who like brings beauty and shows up as a peacemaker for other people. I'm thinking of my Cancer rising friend again, because she just went out and sent me pictures, and she upgraded her like profile picture. How Venus in the first house is that? There is some tension this month because of Saturn being very strongly activated, because whenever there are planets in fixed signs, and you know, we have Saturn and Uranus in two fixed signs all year. They squared last year, so there was already some tension between wanting to break away but needing to proceed carefully and slowly. And this month that gets activated by the Sun and Mercury in Leo and Venus in Leo. So whenever there's more planets in another fixed sign, we get a T-square where all those three signs get triggered. For you, it's activating your finances, your house of personal finances, values, the money you share with other people, any debts you have, any money you have to pay off, and your plans for the future, right? Like Mars, Uranus in the 11th house wants to start new things, wants to be independent, wants to go off on their own, on his or her own. But Saturn is saying you have debts to pay. Especially you might feel this very strongly on August 7th when Mars squares Saturn. Some kind of block and answer like, not quite, be careful, take care of the duties you have. You have these entanglements with other people, you depend on other people, so take care of that first. And then on August 11th we have a full moon in your 8th house. It conjoins Saturn and squares Uranus in the 11th. So similar topic, similar energy, like needing to be very thoughtful, be very careful with your money, focusing on paying off a debt. Like full moon in the 11th house in the 8th house can definitely encourage you to take care of your finances and come up with a solid plan. And maybe you're frustrated that you can't get to where you want to go so quickly as you'd like to go, but it's better than not getting there at all. And don't give up. With Saturn, you're never encouraged to give up. The more you work, the more you get from Saturn, and you know, he pays quite well for your hard work. August 14th, 28th, Sun and Venus in the second house will oppose Saturn in the 8th. So very much your values, your money versus other people's and other people's money. So, you know, be careful when it comes to spending, when it comes to fighting with other people about what you believe. You might feel more isolated, more frustrated when it comes to financial matters, but that will pass. On August 18th, we have a lovely transit. Venus in your second house will trine Jupiter in the 10th. This feels like you might get a financial gains from your job. Maybe you will feel recognized. There's some sort of sense of accomplishment. Lovely day to ask for a raise, talk to your boss, and maybe even sell something, invest into something. It would likely bring good luck. On August 20th, Mars will enter Gemini, and Mars will stay there for the next 7 months because Mars is about to go retrograde. Gemini is your 12th house, so this might encourage you to look at all of your self-defeating, self-destructive tendencies. Watch out for being too much in your head and too critical, too negative. There might be more action, you know, like even to a point that you may struggle sleeping. So in order to avoid that, exercise, go out in nature. Would be a lovely time to take up some kind of spiritual practice. Yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, anything like that. And then of course when Mars goes retrograde on October 30th, you will need to release some of those things. You might, especially if you are, you know, with the 12th house Mars, maybe you are starting some kind of project that helps other people or puts you in touch, puts you in a healing position with people who are isolated. Maybe you start to volunteer, maybe you start to give back somehow. When Mars goes retrograde, those projects will have to be readdressed, like you will have to take another look at them and maybe pay more attention to how you self-sabotage. Virgo season starts on August 22nd. There's a new moon in Virgo on August 27th. Virgo is your third house. It's going to square Mars in Gemini in the 12th house. So new moon in the third and having the sun in the third for the next month is great for using your hands and maybe learning a new skill, pursuing your hobbies, communicating about things that you feel interested in. Of course, Virgo is very detailed oriented, so maybe you're writing something, maybe you're proof checking things, maybe you're teaching people a language or something like that. But with Mars being in a square to this new moon, you will also have to look very closely at your self-defeating behaviors. It's all about that. It's like you have this idea, you have this skill that you're good at, but you keep doubting yourself. You keep saying, not right now, I'm not ready. What about this next idea? Like, choose what you're excited about and just follow it. For Leo rising, the sun is in the first house until August 22nd. Mercury is here early in the month, and then Venus enters on the 11th. The lights are on you. You are bright and solar and noticeable right now. This is, don't waste this time, right? Like, try to ask for what you want, try to present your ideas, speak in front of other people, go out, dress up, have fun. Venus in the first house is lovely for being more charming and more magnetic and being able to draw things, maybe opportunities your way. Mars is in Taurus, your 10th house, until August 20th. This is great for professional development, starting new projects, maybe something that deals with beauty and art and or financial things, right? Like, because Taurus is very much beauty, art, and money. But yeah, like, you are encouraged to be more competitive, more proactive. And if it's, you know, if it's taking you a while to get started, don't get discouraged, because that's how Mars and Taurus works. It takes a while to decide, but then once it starts, it keeps going. August 1st is very significant. We have a pretty rare transit. Mars will conjoin Uranus and North Node in your house of career. And Mars is independent. Uranus wants freedom, wants to electrify your sector of career, wants to bring new opportunities, make you be like a Prometheus at work. So you might have a message that you want to deliver. You might have an important idea. You might have a project that connects you to the larger world somehow. So accept exciting new beginnings professionally, but watch out for being too fanatical and too... Taurus sometimes struggles with being too narrow-minded, right? Like there's a danger of you being too focused on this idea that you forget that there's also other people and they have the right to their own ideas too. There's quite a lot of tension this month because Saturn is activated, so we get a T-square between your first house and Leo planets, all of that desire for self-expression, between Mars in Taurus in your 10th house of career and your professional goals, and then Saturn in the 7th and your relationship duties. Maybe you're facing some kind of breakthroughs professionally, but that's affecting the future of your marriage, where you get a new idea, you want to become a flight attendant and you want to travel all the time, but your husband wants to start a family. So you might need to deal with some tensions there, and maybe your partner steps up as the Saturn in your life. Maybe your partner is sort of raining on your parade and bringing you back down to earth. Don't be too frustrated by it. If the partner is there, or if there is some Saturnian voice in your life that comes through in one-on-one significant relationship, business partner, marriage partner, or even someone that you consider your work wife, your work husband, listen to them, because Saturn encourages slow progress, and if you pursue things slowly and deliberately, you're likely going to see good results. Especially strongly this is felt on August 7th when Mars squares Saturn, August 11th when we get a full moon completion, something's changing in your sector of relationship, squaring Uranus in the 10th house. So once again, tension between career matters and your relationship. Maybe professional opportunities that show up will test your relationship and your commitment to it, or your dedication to working together with other people. And then August 14th and 28th, there's a literal tension between what you want with Sun and Venus in your first house and Saturn in the 7th house, which maybe is like the good of the relationship, the good of the partnership. On August 18th, my favorite transit of the month, Venus in the first trines Jupiter in the 9th. You might get a chance to travel. You might get a chance to publish your work, study something, or teach, and possibly, express your ideas somehow. Venus always deals with romance, and 9th house is foreign lands and foreign people, so you might also get a chance to date someone foreign or someone different than you, someone who's well educated and passionate about something, because it's Jupiter and Aries. On August 20th, Mars enters Gemini, your 11th house, and Mars will stay there for the next 700 months. I'm joking, it's only 7 months, but it's a lot of months. Mars goes retrograde on October 30th, so when it first enters Gemini, the next, September, October, in the next 2 months, it goes direct, so it's in your 11th house. You may be getting excited about certain group projects, working with other people, working on social media, being a leader, but then when Mars stations retrograde on October 30th, for the next 12 weeks, you will need to rethink your friendships, your people in your surroundings. Maybe if you get some progress on social media or a group project, anything that puts you in front of your fans, you may need to dial it back. We'll talk about that when we get there. And then on August 22nd, Virgo season starts, and there is a new moon in Virgo on August 27th. It's happening in your 2nd house and squaring Mars and Gemini in the 11th. There's likely new financial beginnings, but they might be connected to tensions in friendships or challenges related to social media, because Mars, you know, like Mars in Gemini in the 11th might have like all these great ideas, all the ideas, right? And then new moon in the second house might ask you to narrow it down, to be like, well, we can't do all of the ideas. Let's start with one or two, and there might be some tension there, either, you know, internally or between you and your friends. For Virgo rising, the sun spends most of the month in Leo, your 12th house. And so at first things might feel kind of slower. Maybe they're more stagnant. Maybe you are retreating back into your inner space, you know, spending more time alone, revisiting astrology, looking within, trying to understand yourself. Great time to meditate, connect with yourself. Venus joins the sun on August 11th, and Venus might create like a bit of a danger of like you getting involved into a romance that doesn't serve you. So be careful there. Be careful dating someone who's like otherwise unavailable, other previously engaged, and, you know, has other things that's going on in their life. And other than that, you can benefit from this transit by taking a trip somewhere and like going on an adventure, traveling to a foreign land. The action in Leo activates Saturn-Uranus square between your 6th house and your 9th house. So you may be questioning once again, like, you know, Leo energy makes you be more introspective about who you are. It makes you possibly want to release some of the self-defeating notions. But then you're also dealing with your professional immediate demands of your life, the minutia of life that is taking away from it. And like, you know, Saturn is strong this month, and Saturn is in your 6th house. So Saturn will make you look closely at the plumbing of your life, the structure of your daily routines. Like, do you have enough space? Do you have the time? Are you willing to commit to taking better care of yourself? And then Mars being in your 9th house deals with expansion and growth and travel. So all of this tension between like, I want to heal, I want to travel, pursue new things, but I need to take care of my health. And Saturn is like, be careful, take things easy, proceed slowly. That is especially going to be felt very strongly for days this month, August 7th, when Mars squares Saturn. So Mars on the 9th wants to go and escape or like travel, learn, publish their work. And Saturn in the 6th is like, well, if you have to do this, you have to first have a 10-step plan, and you have to clear your schedule, and you have to do your laundry, and then maybe you'll be able to do that. August 11th, we have a full moon in the 6th house, completion of something related to health and service. It conjoins Saturn, so it has a little bit of possibly like sacrificing something, or like committing to something that maybe feels dull and not exciting, but is good for you in the long run. And it squares Uranus in the 9th. So once again, some sort of compromise between what you're trying to achieve and what you have the time to do. And then on August 14th and 28th, there are Sun and Venus in the 12th house opposing Saturn in the 6th. So your desire for rest, your desire for healing will once again be tested against that larger, you know, not larger, but like the duties that you have and the real life. You're not encouraged to just get lost in the real life. You are encouraged to continue pursuing things that make you feel happy, but not push too hard. The month begins very much with a lightning strike, because we have Mars in your 9th house currently conjoining Uranus and conjoining North Node. Everything is happening in your 9th. I said it before. But 9th house deals with education, travel, writing, like publishing your work, knowledge, your beliefs, your philosophical views, legal matters. So there might be, with Mars in the 9th house, you really feel a strong pull to expand, to change, to take on new things. Uranus is very much like, let's do it now. Uranus is a rebel, a troublemaker. Surprising changes, surprising opportunities might be brought up, breakthroughs, maybe you get an opportunity to travel, to move somewhere, to publish your book. But at the same time, you know, there might also be new insights and new understandings about who you are. And this builds up the last week of July. This is already in effect. And watch out, kind of listen to these ideas. But once again, Saturn is strong. Saturn wants you to proceed with care. Think about the legacy, think about the larger purpose, about behind it all. So not rush, and watch out for ideological battles, because it's the ninth house. Ninth house is very much, I believe this and I am right. Mars and Uranus is very much, I am right. You might not be right. You might not know the right answer quite yet. So it's okay, try to take it easy. My favorite transit of the month occurs on August 18th, when Venus in the 12th house trines Jupiter in the 8th. So this might bring some kind of support and gifts and assistance from people that are invisible. Maybe you get finances from someone, from like a secret benefactor. Maybe it's just happening behind the scenes. You know, you might get money coming from like an investment, inheritance, or even your partner. And this could be a very healing, very happy transit in which you get an insight into your creativity. Maybe, you know, like Jupiter in the 8th, Venus in the 12th. Venus in the 12th can be very creative. Jupiter in the 8th might mean like someone else comes in and they're like, we see your light, we see your creativity. Let's make something out of it. So maybe other people bring an exciting new project into your life. And then Virgo season starts on August 22nd. The sun moves into your first house, more energy, more visibility, more exciting pursuits. And then almost immediately on August 27th, we have a new moon in Virgo, squaring Mars and Gemini in your 10th house. So there's new beginnings in how you present yourself. There might be a bit of like tension with Mars in the 10th house, with like, how do you deal with your existing career? Or how do you deal with your existing commitments? And possibly needing to make a choice. Mars being in Gemini is great, but Mars in Gemini is actually, I'm gonna mention Mars in Gemini. But like, yeah, like Mars in Gemini might create a sense of having too many opportunities, too many ideas, too many choices, and you are encouraged to narrow it down and maybe choose something that feels most right. And finally, Mars will enter Gemini on August 20th and will stay there for the next 7 months, because Mars will go retrograde. And this is even more action in your career, in your personal projects, your personal pursuits. You will be more proactive, more courageous, more competitive at work, and you might start new things, but beware that when Mars goes retrograde on August 30th, it is quite likely that some of those new things will need to be revisited, rethought, and adjusted. For Libra rising, the sun begins the month in the 11th house. Venus enters your 11th on August 11th. And this is great for any social media action, for being more visible, for being more in front of people, right? Like you are shining, you may be spending more time with friends, your charm with Venus in the 11th shines in the group context, so definitely a lovely time to go out and connect and collaborate with other people. Mars stays in your 8th house all months, not all months, until August 20th, making you possibly deal with Mars in the 8th might like make you deal with some like healing and address certain, you know, boundaries and debts with other people. And it's interesting because on August 1st, we have Mars conjoin Uranus, conjoin North Node, a very major transit in your 8th house. And it's building, it's already building. So if you're watching it before August 1st, just know that you likely have been feeling it all week before that and then a week after. And Mars-Uranus would possibly want some kind of liberation. So there might be a sudden breakthrough in your mindset. There might be a breakthrough in therapy, a deeper self-understanding. Maybe there might be like an opportunity coming to you from other people to create something, or maybe an opportunity to sever a relationship with someone else, to separate yourself from something. Do not rush. Try to proceed with care, because maybe you get excited about something, or you get like too into something, and it's not necessarily so good for you. So watch out for jumping too fast into things, or cutting people off, or like closing a relationship that might actually be good for you. Venus is still in your 10th house at the time, early in the month, so potentially professional matters should be going great, and there should be a sense of satisfaction with what you are creating at work. And I'm a Libra rising, and I'm going to be, making candles right around the same time. So this is great. With Saturn being heavily activated by Leo planets this month, we get a lot of Saturnine energies, a lot of tension, a lot of kind of delays and blockages, and maybe issues to satisfying our dreams, our goals. I'll be on vacation part of August, so hopefully this doesn't mess with my Libra rising plans. But if this resonates with you, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, Saturn is strong. Saturn is activated. So Saturn is in your 5th house, Sun is in your 11th, Mars is in your 8th. And there's tension likely between your group projects, your desire to have fun, your desire to go out and connect with people, shine on social media, your creative commitments and creative projects, and your desire for fun, and the resources that you have, and the freedom that you actually have. So you might be, and finance is a big deal too. I think like financial matters might be a little bit tense this month. Let me know if you've been already feeling it. But yeah, like on August 7th, August 11th, August 14th, and 28th, those are the dates when these tensions might be especially strong. August 7th, Mars in the 8th squares Saturn in the 5th. So something you want to pursue, something you want to work on may get checked by your duties to your creative projects, duties to your children. You sort of like have less freedom to move this month, I feel like, in some ways. Not all months, but like I said, like 7th, 11th, and 14th, 28th. There's a full moon on the 11th in your 5th house, conjoining Saturn, squaring Uranus in the 8th. So there might be changes to your relationship if you're dating someone. There might be completion of a project due to either, a relationship, maybe you disagree about values with your partner and the relationship has to transform or be released. Maybe you have to invest money into your child. Maybe you have to figure out how to commit to a creative project. Might just be frustration, might be like something you want to pursue, something you want to make money from is slowed down. And maybe the money matters are actually related to you wanting to have more fun, to you wanting to have more creativity. You perhaps feel the responsibility to spend some money on yourself. Maybe. August 14th, 28th, Sun and Venus in the 11th house will oppose Saturn in the 5th. So your desire to go out, have fun, socialize will be once again checked by, well, do you have a plan? Do you have a structure? Are you ready? There are certain creative things you have to take care of. It's like interesting because Saturn in the 5th makes creativity a duty, right? Like you might think that I'm talking about creative things and they're fun, or like a relationship or children can be fun, but here it's more like you have these duties that are blocking you from pursuing things that you want to pursue. So you want to make sure that you're balancing creative growth with other things. On August 18th, we have a beautiful transit. Venus in your 11th house will trine Jupiter in the 7th. You might move a relationship with a friend to a new level. You might start a collaboration with a friend. There might be just like growth to your romantic relationship and business collaboration. Somehow it's connected to your friendship and social media and support of people in your life. So like I said, maybe starting to date a friend, or maybe taking a project to social media and gaining good results. Mars enters Gemini, your 9th house, on August 20th, and Mars will stay in Gemini for the next 7 months due to the upcoming retrograde. Mars in Gemini is great for traveling. So lovely time to go on a trip, start studying something, become a teacher, expand your world, expand your mind somehow. Watch out for fighting with people over beliefs. And you may need to rethink what drives you, what motivates you. Travel matters, right? Like you might go on a trip and you feel like you want to move there, and now you have to figure it out. Education matters. If you decide to start teaching a course, Mars goes retrograde on October 30th, and you have to dial it back and rethink things. So your desire to expand, matters connected to education, travel will need to be taken into account and will need a closer look. Virgo season starts on August 22nd, and there's a new moon in Virgo on August 27th. All of this is happening in your 12th house, so it's more hidden and spiritual, and it's actually going to square Mars in Gemini in the 9th house. So Mars in Gemini might be like pulling you in all these different directions and encouraging you to study and travel and do a lot of fun things, but then new moon in Virgo will likely ask you to focus on one and to focus on your peace and well-being and retreat and, you know, take good care of yourself. So avoid just like spiraling too much and spreading your attention on all the things that maybe don't need your attention. For Scorpio rising, the sun spends most of the month in Leo. This is your 10th house, and you are shining at work. So many people have commented under my new moon in Leo video that there's been so many new work opportunities. So let me know how your work is going, how your work life is going, Scorpio risings. I hope the ones of you that were interviewing for a job got the job. But yeah, like sun in Leo until August 22nd is great for professional pursuits, for being visible at work, being recognized. Venus joins in on the 11th, and your charm grows even stronger. Great time to pursue creative projects and to ask other people for favors. Mars spends the month, almost all of the month in your 7th house until August 20th, when it enters Gemini. For the next 7 months, because Mars will go retrograde. But like early in the month, it's in your 7th house, encouraging you to date, to go maybe on active dates, to assert yourself in relationships, to collaborate with others, to be like a leader in a relationship possibly. And we begin the month with a very, like on August 1st, we have this very significant transit where Mars conjoins Uranus and conjoins North Node. So this brings breakthroughs and inceptions of new things in your relationships. Of course, if a relationship is not stable and it's going through difficulty, it might break. But if a relationship is strong, it might just be like the time when you or your partner experience a sense, or maybe you both experience a sense of insight, understanding, inception of something new, right? Like it might be happening in your life separately, or it might be happening in the relationship. The most obvious example might be pregnancy. There might also be business opportunities, start of a new collaboration, start of a business. Be careful with Taurus. We always have to warn people, be careful being too narrow-minded and too kind of caught up with your idea of a thing, or, you know, even if you feel like a strong need for independence, maybe it's good to take it easy and not be like, oh, I want independence, I'm over this relationship, goodbye. Try to be careful. There's likely tension between your work, home, and your relationship this month due to a heavy Saturnine energy. Saturn gets activated by the planets in Leo, and the planets in Leo activate Saturn and Uranus both. So Uranus in the 7th wants that breakthrough, change, you know, excitement in a relationship, independence, innovation. Saturn in the 4th says like, hey, you're still building your nest, or hey, home and family needs your attention. And then all of your desire to shine at work will get tested by that, right? Like it sort of gets pinned together. And that especially shows up especially strongly on August 7th when Mars squares Saturn. August 11th when we have a full moon in your 4th house conjunct Saturn squaring Uranus in the 7th. All sort of very similar energies, right? Like you want new things, you're ready maybe for something new in your relationship, in your business partnership, in your career, but you have to be very careful because there's other things that you first have to take care of. Maybe it's your living situation, maybe you're moving, maybe you are building a home. Like, be thoughtful and careful with all of your projects this month. And August 14th, 28th, so August 7th, 11th, 14th, 28th are those 10 states. My favorite day of the month is August 18th, when Venus in your 10th will trine Jupiter in the 6th. So this is very much good luck professionally. If you have a creative idea, if you have a project that you feel passionate about, do it, pursue it, announce it. It will be likely something that requires commitment. Maybe it has to do with health or a legal matter, or, you know, it asks you to overcome a certain difficulty, invest a lot of time into it, but it's not necessarily, it's likely to pay off. Like, it's likely to add something to your career. Like, you might literally get a new idea, maybe to work with other people. Yeah, like somehow, you know, commit to a new exciting project. And then when Mars enters Gemini on August 20th, this is your 8th house. And Mars will be in Gemini, your 8th house, for the next 7 months because Mars goes retrograde. So Mars in the 8th house is a sign of like needing to take care of financial matters, maybe any debts, maybe you need to look for clients, maybe you need to heal and focus on your well-being, but mostly it feels like paying off debts for some of you, right? Like maybe it's connected to your home situation, like whatever is happening with home and family right now. And then when Mars goes retrograde on October 30th, you might need to rethink your strategy, the way you share money with other people, the way you approach finances, and possibly approach things from a different way, and maybe like find a way to free yourself from some entanglements with people that don't serve you. Virgo season starts on August 22nd. There is a new moon in Virgo on August 27th. It's happening in your 11th house. And, you know, it's also squaring Mars and Gemini in the 8th. So, new moon in the 11th brings new beginnings to your friendships, to your networks, to your hopes and dreams. But I think the square to Mars in the 8th might mean that these debts that you have, or these dependencies, entanglements with other people, will likely bring a sense of frustration to your new beginnings in friendships. So be careful, and maybe like don't spend your last money on an exciting get together with friends, or like, you know, think through the new project that you feel excited about and think whether you have enough resources. And you know, you have some time to figure it out. You don't have to solve the problem right away and kind of like solve it immediately. But yeah, maybe don't invest into something too rashly. Like, it's okay to start a new friendship, but maybe don't like spend all of your money on a project that seems great, but maybe is not worth it in the long run. For Sag rising, the August begins with the sun in Leo, your 9th house. So this is very much and Venus joins in on August 11th. So a lot of action in your 9th house, and you might be somehow expanding your world. You might be literally going through a change of heart, like about a certain issue. You're changing your opinion or something on something, or you may be traveling, you may be learning, you may be like learning about astrology, and maybe dealing with like foreign matters, foreign people, foreign cultures, expanding. Like very much like new things are coming into your life, and they might be very much mental or literal. Venus entering your 9th house on August 11th is great for romance and for dating foreigners, but also possibly travel, because you will be desiring to travel and go somewhere else. Mars stays in Taurus, your 6th house, until August 20th, and you have more energy to solve problems. Maybe they're old problems, likely problems related to your home, to your family, to your food, diet, like diet, exercise, health matters. Great time to go to the doctor and take care of matters related to your health. August 1st might be sort of like a triggering time, because we have a very significant transit. Mars conjoins Uranus, conjoins North Node, all in your 6th house. And this is like revolutionary energy. So very self-driven, very self-righteous. So watch out for fighting with people you work with, or fighting with your doctor, or fighting with people in your immediate environment. But it's also very innovative. There might be innovation and changes and breakthroughs and new beginnings in the sector of health and in the sector of like diet and exercise. Maybe you come up with new workout strategy. Maybe you decide to become like a health coach, or you kind of some kind of new exciting idea that will likely encourage you to commit to it and spend a lot of time working on it. Maybe even like a desire to serve other people, or changes related to serving other people, as well as insights about your health. If there is a way in which you block your growth, you don't eat too well, you don't sleep enough, you spend a lot of time on your phone, this is your invitation to release some of that, to rethink that, to recommit to yourself. There's a lot of Saturn this month. Saturn is very strong. There's a strong flavor of Saturn, because although all of the planets in Leo in your 9th house are activating the square between Saturn in the 3rd and Uranus in the 6th. So you can expect tension between your travel, that desire to expand, that desire to pursue new things, and then the duties you have to work duties and all the matters you have to take care of. And literally your schedule, literally how much time you have available, because it's possible there's like lots and lots of things that are happening this month with Saturn in the 3rd house. I feel like topics of, if you want to expand, if you have all these new ideas and you are taking, like maybe you're taking a new role at work, maybe you're becoming a teacher, maybe you want to study something new, Saturn in the 3rd might literally just ask you to like learn to value your ideas, to not sabotage yourself, but like proceed carefully. This is especially felt very heavily on August 7th, August 11th with the full moon in Aquarius, August 14th and 28th. This like tension between wanting to go there but feeling like you don't have what it takes, you don't feel ready, you still have a lot of work to do. So yeah, like Saturn in the 3rd will encourage you to do more planning, to trust your ideas, to trust your skills, to know that you have a lot to offer and your ideas and your words are valuable. And maybe just like make a schedule, like if you have all these things going on and all these exciting new projects, just do not rush to achieve those things. Try to take it easy. August 18th is my favorite transit. If you're listening to all of this video, which you're probably not, but like I've been saying it every single time, I love this transit because it's very creative, very supportive of romance, socializing favors. For you, it's activating your 5th house with Jupiter in the 5th. Good luck when it comes to romance, creativity, fun, sports, children, and Venus in the 9th house. So your house of education, travel gets connected to the house of fun. So there might be fun and creativity. So there might be creative success that's coming your way, like selling a book idea, for example, or starting a podcast, starting to talk about something you really enjoy doing. There might be an education opportunity. There might be a romantic opportunity, like maybe, you know, studying or teaching or dating someone feels very much different from you, foreigner, well-educated, someone who's like well-rounded. If you are dealing, you know, if your child needs to get into a school, August 18th might be the day when they do get into that school that you want them to get into. Mars enters Gemini, your 7th house, on August 20th and stays there, will stay there for 7 months. And this is unusual, right? It's due to Mars going retrograde on August 30th. So Mars entering your 7th house might be the time when you become more proactive about dating. You take initiative, you assert yourself, watch out for fighting a lot in relationships. Instead, find ways to go on active dates and express the active martial energy through sex or working out together. When Mars goes retrograde on October 30th, you might need to rethink your approach to relationships, and maybe the progress that you make in the next 2 months will need to be revisited, but more on that when we get closer to it. Virgo season starts on August 22nd. It's your 10th house. There's a new moon in your 10th house on August 27th. It will be squaring Mars and Gemini in your 7th house. So there's new beginnings in your career, new beginnings related to self-expression and being more visible and starting something new professionally, but it might be somehow at odds with your relationship goals. So you might need to compromise and figure out a better balance with all the things you're trying to accomplish with dating, or honestly, almost like if you have a business, if you have like a side hustle, this also feels like 7th house is that side hustle and new beginnings are happening in your career. So try to be careful balancing those two. For Capricorn rising, the sun spends most of the month until August 20th, spends time in your 8th house. And then Venus goes there on August 11th. 8th house is karmic debts, taxes, entanglement. So you might be paying attention, inheritance. So you might be dealing with like all of these money and resources you share with other people. And it could be literal, right? Like you and your husband join finances together. Or it could be more spiritual, like the wound that you have, or the memory you have, or the issue you have with your mother that has died recently. It doesn't have to be always visible and literal. But yeah, taking care of any debts, paying off any debts, taking care of any taxes, insurance, bills, all of that kind of stuff. Venus joining on the 11th is beneficial for your partner's finances. Like they can get some kind of raise, they can get a gift, or you might be getting more gifts from other people. Venus in the 8th sometimes might be like that, like someone brings you concert ticket to a concert that you really wanted to go. Mars is in Taurus, your 5th house, until August 20th, giving you more energy to date, create, and spend time with children. And in fact, on August 1st, we have a very significant transit with Mars conjoining Uranus and North Node in Taurus in your 5th house. And I actually know a Capricorn rising who I just recently found out got pregnant recently. So this could be like, 5th house is the place of children. So this could be very much like getting pregnant. And if you are not in a relationship, or this is like, child can be your brainchild. This can be very much like a breakthrough in a creative project, like you sell your idea or you come up with a new exciting idea. inception of something new in romance, dating a new person, in creativity related to children. Watch out for being too focused on this to a point that you like miss other things and, you know, maybe forget about other people needing your attention or needing your care. But overall, could be exciting, just like a little bit of like energy of like breaking things. So maybe don't take your kid for, I don't know, don't take them ice skating around this day. And Venus sextiles this conjunction from the 7th house, promising support from a partner or support from your relationships. Saturn is strong this month. Saturn gets activated by the Leo planets. Uranus gets activated by the Leo planets and by Mars and Taurus. So we have some tension between Saturn in your 2nd house, Leo in your 8th house, and Uranus in your 5th house, right? So like Uranus wants that new beginnings. Uranus is excited. Uranus is like, there's all these things, and so does Mars and Taurus. But then you also have debts you have to pay with the Sun and Venus in the 11th, and like you're very concerned with other people. And then Saturn is saying that you don't have unlimited finances, or you need to sort through your values with other people. So money might be a sore topic this month, or a topic that requires serious conversations. Don't neglect it. Don't avoid, like, if there are any delays, if there are any misunderstandings and disagreements and like financial difficulties that need your attention, do not push harder. Instead, try to take a step back and maybe come up with a financial plan. Like, you know, especially if there is something exciting does happen, if something exciting does happen in your house of creativity or children, like you get pregnant or you get a new idea or even like an offer to write a screenplay, but you don't immediately get finances for it. So try to proceed with care. Especially complicated dates for this Saturn energy, delays, frustrations, blocks, are August 7th, 11th, 14th, and 28th. So that's when Mars activates Saturn, and there's a full moon on August 11th, conjunct Saturn, squaring Uranus, and Sun and Venus in the 8th will also oppose Saturn. So Saturn will entire month be like, be careful, take it easy, like an old grandpa watching over you and making sure you're not making mistakes. My favorite date all months is August 18th. Venus in your 8th house will trine Jupiter in the 4th. Lovely energy flow between your house of debts, finances, taxes, inheritance, and the house of home and family. So this can show up in a few different ways, right? Like if you've been dealing with a matter related to home and family, be that renovation, be that a legal matter, a sale, trying to get a mortgage, you might get it. This might be the time when you get some kind of financial benefit through your home. Getting something good from family. Maybe you get an inheritance from, you know, a parent or a family member, something that doesn't necessarily happen at this time. Like, you know, not that someone will pass away in August, but something might finalize at this time. And let me know if you are in any, you know, if there are any debts or any kind of settlements you're expecting. And yeah, like getting approved for a mortgage, paying off a mortgage, maybe even healing a wound related to your parents are likely here. Mars enters Gemini, your 6th house, on August 20th, and Mars will stay in Gemini for the next 7 months due to the upcoming retrograde. First 2 months until October 30th, we have a lot of energy in your house of problem solving, a lot of focus on your health, diet. You're like a powerhouse. You take care of things, you clean, you do laundry, you go to the doctor. You're like very much on top of things. And then when Mars goes retrograde, you might need to rethink your commitments and things you spend time on and your habits. But we'll get to it when we're closer to that date. Virgo season starts on August 22nd, and there's a new moon in Virgo on August 27th. This is your 9th house, and it's going to square Mars and Gemini in your 6th house. So New moon in the 9th house brings new beginnings when it comes to travel, education, publishing, legal matters, and just in general a desire to expand your world somehow. Maybe travel, maybe teach, maybe study. And then there's a square to Mars in the 6th, implying to me that there's all these, you know, more mundane things that you're handling that maybe are frustrating your plans. So do your best to expand and maybe narrow the focus versus just trying to do all the things at once. For Aqua Rising, we start Leo season. For Aqua Rising, we start August with the Sun in your 7th house, and Venus joins in on August 11th. So 7th house deals with partnerships, relationships, dating, collaborations with other people. So you might be going on more dates, you might be searching for clients, you might be joining your forces with other people. It's a very social month for the most part for you. Venus in the 11th is great for dating. It might bring your partner good fortune, but also just kind of lovely for attracting someone peaceful, harmonious, beautiful, diplomatic. And you might be better also like at manifesting things. Until August 20th, Mars is in Taurus, your 4th house, and Mars goes through this very significant transit of a conjunction with Uranus and North Node on August 1st, and it's building up as we speak, as I speak my words at you. So it's building up, right? And Mars being in the 4th house brings a lot of action to the sector of home and family. And then you put it together with Uranus and you put it together with North Node. Mars is action, very self-driven. Uranus is rebellion, innovation, independence, sudden change, and North Node makes it bigger. So there might be breakthroughs and changes to your living situation. You might sort of get an idea of maybe you want to sublet your apartment, maybe you want to rebuild your home. There's some kind of, sometimes with Uranus you want to break old things to build new things. Maybe don't rush to do it. Don't rush to just like start knocking the wall off before you have a plan on how to get that to happen. There might be sudden discoveries, breaks of old dynamics in your family. Maybe you realize something about your family and you want to pursue independence from them. Or just a new understanding of what makes you happy and secure. Watch out for getting into fights with family members because, you know, there's always danger with this transit of being too fanatical about something. Like you get this idea and you're like, this is the idea, but in reality you will benefit more from taking it easy. Venus is sexiling this conjunction from your 6th house, so there might be some support from your work sector, maybe good relationship with colleagues, maybe just a sense of joy in getting the work done, maybe like you're willing to commit to things and you're willing to put the work behind your words. There's a lot of Saturn this month because planets in Leo in your 7th house are activating Saturn in your 1st house, and they're also Mars being in Taurus is activating Saturn as well, activating Uranus. So it's all kind of a flashback to 2021 when we had Saturn-Uranus square. But you can expect tension between your home, because Mars in the 4th, and all these like insights about family, about your sense of security, about your living situation, all of these like exciting projects and, you know, things floating in the air might be at odds with the responsibilities you have to yourself and things that are going on in your relationship. So there's tension between like your relationship, your partnership. And if you're not in a relationship, this might feel like a relationship with your mother, if you and your mother are sort of like husband and wife or two wives together. So like the tension that will be required to, you will be required to carefully navigate those matters and not push extra hard in a specific direction. But you can expect delays to those things. Like in the beginning of the month, you get excited about something new. Maybe you're moving, maybe you're rebuilding, maybe your family is moving closer to you, or you're moving away for the first time. And this will be more like, okay, take a step back, Rethink what you have, rethink the other responsibilities you have. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of your relationship? So you will definitely need to proceed patiently and slowly, because that's what Saturn ultimately wants of you. And this is felt especially strongly on August 7th, August 11th, with full moon in your first house conjunct Saturn squaring Uranus. Like, who are you without maybe the heavy weight of the family karma? To me, feels like very much the full moon message. Let me know if you've been going through any kind of like significant family changes. And then August 14th and 28th is very much like me against my partner, and like, how do we balance those things? Or, you know, my desires versus the desires over my partner. August 18th is exciting. We have Venus in the 7th house trining Jupiter in the 3rd house, and this is possibly the luckiest day all year. Jupiter in the 3rd could be like good luck when it comes to your skills, your hobbies, and maybe you're taking that and turning that into a business. Maybe you're starting a business with your partner, and there's good luck to kind of collaborating. Maybe you're starting a business with your sibling or your neighbor, or someone who feels like a sibling. And if you're single, you might actually meet someone at a local bar, just like going out, or meet someone through a sibling or a neighbor. Like, they invite a friend over and you hang out and there's sparks flying. Mars enters Gemini, your 5th house, on August 20th, and Mars will stay there for the next 7 months. You may feel inspired to create something. You might get like a desire to pick up dancing or to pick up painting, and perhaps kind of give more attention to things that bring you joy or used to bring you joy in the past that you have given up on. You might be spending more time with children, or, you know, planning to have children or making children. Like maybe your child gets like suddenly more active, like maybe they're going to school or something is happening in their life that sets them off on their journey. When Mars goes retrograde on October 30th, you might need to rethink your creative process, but also creative progress, and see whether you have accomplished what you wanted to accomplish, and maybe like rethink some of that. And if you're a child, you know, that might be the time, like if the child leaves the nest, maybe the child comes back to the nest during the retrograde, and you might have to like take another look at your romantic relationship at that time. On August 22nd, Virgo season begins, and we have a new moon in Virgo, your 8th house, on August 27th. New moon in Virgo in the 8th house will encourage you to enter new relationships with other people, maybe like even get into debt when it comes to getting a mortgage, for example, or maybe get out of debt and like complete some kind of relationship. It is squaring Mars in Gemini in the 5th house, so maybe the debt that you are encountering is connected to having a child, getting pregnant. Maybe it's connected to your child's life. Maybe you're getting a loan to help your kid pay for college. Make sure you're not too caught up in the needs of your partner or the needs of your child, that you're putting yourself in a tough spot and like getting into debt that will be really hard to pay off. Just be more thoughtful and cautious when it comes to that. And finally, for Pisces rising, the sun begins the month and stays in Leo until August 22nd. This is your 6th house. This brings more light and attention to your health, diet, exercise. You might be doing more work, maybe doing more cleaning, more organizing. Lovely time to streamline your routines, to figure out a new workout procedure, and maybe focus on eating better. And Venus joins the sun on August 11th, so you're likely to become actually more lenient when it comes to what you eat. So, you know, this might be counteractive. They might contradict one another, so try not to like overindulge into things with Venus in the 6th. Instead, try to treat yourself. Try to take yourself to get a massage, or, you know, maybe go swimming or do things that are exercise but also enjoyable. And relationships with colleagues should be better. Mars is in Taurus, your 3rd house, until August 20th, encouraging you to write, to speak, to get in touch with your ideas, to have more encounters and more action in the neighborhood. My Pisces rising friend like has been going out and playing in like local park, so kind of like you have more ideas, you have a busier schedule. On August 1st, we begin the month with a very significant Mars-Uranus conjunction, Mars-Uranus North Node conjunction, actually, in your 3rd house. And this might bring like an inception, a breakthrough in creativity, maybe a new writing idea, maybe a spark of something. It doesn't have to be writing, but some kind of idea that utilizes your skills, your passions, your knowledge. It might have to do with teaching, it might have to do with studying, maybe something that pushes you to learn more. And it could also be connected to starting a business, because 3rd house is connected to kind of like, you know, local environment and working with your hands. So taking things to the next level is pretty much here. Watch out for getting in fights with your siblings and neighbors, and there might be like something severed there if you are pushing too hard. And also be careful driving too fast, and like be careful getting into fights with people, because it can escalate and kind of blow up in your face too quickly. There is a sextile from Venus in the 5th house, so creativity, romance, and children provides a safe space for you at this more tense time. Saturn is strong this month. Saturn is very much front and center. It's in your 12th house. It's going to get activated by the planets in Leo. It's going to get activated by Mars and Taurus. So there is tension, right, between like all these new projects, between like a business, teaching, learning, something that you want to pursue, and your daily life and your errands and your spiritual things. So as great as these things are, Saturn is likely going to be like, hey, look at me, I'm here. Saturn will likely encourage you to do more spiritual work and do more healing and do more releasing, and maybe like even when it comes to like embracing negative self-talk, sorry, not embracing, don't embrace negative self-talk, but like dealing with like negative self-talk. Like, are you being the enemy of yourself? And if this resonates, let me know in the comments below. But like, maybe there's a way to release certain things from the past. Maybe, you know, there might be people knocking on your door from the past this month, and not necessarily visibly, literally, but like maybe in your dreams. Maybe 12th house is very like subconscious, right? And Saturn being in the 12th is not necessarily gonna like give you clues immediately, but there's something from the past, something self-destructive that you need to address. Could be as simple, nothing in 12th house is simple, but could be maybe you have this idea, but you don't believe that it will be successful. So look at what you are saying to yourself and start small. Maybe write them down and cross the previous belief off and say, I'd like to believe, and write the new thing, something like that. August 18th is lovely. Venus in the 6th house will trine Jupiter in your 2nd house. So this could bring financial gains. This could bring a sense of being valued, a sense of satisfaction of the work well done, and financial satisfaction, because this connects your house of service and work with the house of money. Great time also to possibly invest into your health. Maybe, you know, go get a massage, spend on yourself, treat yourself, but treat yourself for something that is like healthy and good for you. Mars enters Gemini, your 4th house, on August 20th, and Mars will stay in Gemini for the next 7 months. And this is very significant because Mars goes retrograde. So Mars entering your 4th house for the next 2 months, it goes direct. August 20th until October 30th, you might be taking more action at home. You might be moving, you might be refinancing, fixing things up, taking care of like if you own land, maybe, you know, going through harvesting things. Clearly I'm like a Virgo who is not very aware of what it's like to gather harvest. Why does it sound so wrong? But anyways, maybe like, you know, maybe there's matters connected to harvest, land, property that need your attention. And once Mars goes retrograde, you're likely to have to rethink some of the progress you've made and rethink some of your family dynamics. But we'll get to it when we'll get to it. We'll talk about that closer to October. And finally, in this long video with Pisces, the final transit that I'm going to talk about is Sun entering Virgo on August 22nd and New Moon in Virgo on August 27th. This new moon is happening in your 7th house, promising new beginnings in relationships and business partnerships. So there might be some kind of new start there, commitment, a business, an opportunity to work with other people. There is a square to Mars and Gemini in the 4th house. So home matters might be distracting. Family members might be against the new beginnings in your relationship, or home just will require a lot of attention. And it might be somehow challenging for your relationship. So try to balance things as much as you can. And I'm going to wrap it up. I hope it resonated. Please let me know in the comments below. And I hope you have a lovely August. Personally, I am going on vacation in a little bit, so I'm very excited. And if you're still here and if you're interested in a magical candle from me, August 1st is when I plan to put them on sale. Check out my website. Anyways, have a great month ahead. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.